Alright, welcome back guys to another Horror Room movie review, and today we have Friday the 13th Part 3 3D, obviously, and I'm not sure if there's any other 3D movies in the Jason series, but this one actually came with two pairs of these 3D glasses we're wearing. As you can see, they're supposed to resemble the hockey mask on the cover, and then they say Friday the 13th on the side. But yeah, these came with the 3D glasses. And there's actually a disclaimer at the beginning saying that the first few minutes, it says, ladies and gentlemen, the first few minutes of this movie are not in 3D. However, you will need the 3D special glasses. You didn't need the special glasses. You don't need They just recap what happened in the second movie and where they left off with the girl leaving, getting carried out with the ambulance. And then we kind of just go right into the beginning of this movie here. However, I did want to mention these 3D glasses because, my God, these things will give you a headache. They've come a long way with 3D. I guess I'll just go ahead and say that because this was 1982, and for Friday the 13th Part 3, 3D glasses it didn't really add much. It just made everything look discolored,
blurry.
Yeah, they did a few things with the 3D. Really, the best scenes were the sticks.
Yeah, they involved a lot of into the sticks, and yeah.
Yeah, if
so
someone
it was good for those parts.
Yeah, it was good for those, like a pitchfork, like the end of a pitchfork, or the snake scene.
Yeah.
Yo-yos.
But seriously though, it's like this is what you get. You get blue, red, blue and red.
Yeah.
That's old school. How more old school do you need to be on 3D?
But they would just use it for goofy things like that. The popcorn popping out. Just crazy
stuff.
stuff.
Yo-yo. A yo-yo. Guys playing with the yo-yo.
But, yeah, so I figured we'd start off with the glasses on. But I'm going to go ahead and take these off now because I don't want to get a headache.
I'm going to wear them till I puke.
So this movie came out in 1982. It, actually had a budget of $2,500,000. I have no idea where that money went.
I think it went in the director's pocket because you don't see any of this money going on film.
No, I have no idea where this money went. But it made $36 million, a little over $36 million at the box office, so another success for the Friday the 13th franchise. And it starts off with a lady watching the events of the second movie on the news. And you know what I have to also say, I think one of the problems with these glasses is it makes you feel like you've been playing the Virtual Boy, where you just get a headache after a certain amount of time. But yeah, it's enough about the glasses.
But it's a good topic to mention.
So she's watching the events unfold on the news, and she sees someone outside going through the laundry. So she sees this person, and then she just goes outside and does laundry. It's no big deal. Her husband comes home and he finds a snake in their rabbit cage. This was I think it was the second 3D effect. The first one was a broom or something. And you see this snake just jump out at the screen, and you mentioned something, how it looks like there's a string tied to it.
And the snake just stands still in the moment he runs away, so it's just looked really fake and terrible. It's funny.
But Jason kills the husband with a meat cleaver. He stabs the wife through the head with a spike or something, some big needle. And apparently he was doing that to get some new clothes. And then we see the new cast of characters. You got 3 girls, 2 guys, these 2 stoners. One looks like Tommy Chong.
Yeah, he's like a white Tommy Chong.
But Tommy Chong is white. So they find a bum. They're on their way to camp. Apparently, the main girl, Chris, had a run-in with Jason. She just thinks it was some crazy guy in the woods. But she had a run-in with Jason about 2 years ago. And she's a little nervous about going back, but she's going with her friends. So they all get in a van. They're driving. I don't know if it's Camp Crystal Lake. I think it's a place in the vicinity of the camp.
It was the Higgins. The Higgins, they own people in the second movie.
Yeah.
They own, it was on the same lake, but not the same exact spot as Crystal Lake was. Where that cabin was in the first movie.
Yeah, because in the second movie, because of the murders at Crystal Lake, they kind of built another camp near that. So no one really goes back to Camp Crystal Lake. So they get in this van, they drive over there, and they find a bum in the middle of the road. He has a human eyeball.
Just holding a human eyeball.
And he holds it up to the camera so it's like a 3D effect. I don't know what this was. It looks like a tiny bag.
Yeah. Again, where's that budget at with this? It's like you don't see an eye.
No.
It's just like garbage putty. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, use a couple more dollars of that budget and just get an eye.
I think the only reason I knew it was an eye is because they said, oh my god, he has an eyeball.
That's the only reason you would know. Because it doesn't show you. It doesn't let you know by showing you.
So they get back in the van and they're driving to the camp area. And Chris, the main girl, she talks about 2 years ago she was running away from the guy.
Turns out to be Jason.
Yeah, and then she meets her ex, I guess her ex-boyfriend Rick. And there's this other guy, Shelly, the prankster. Him and another girl run to a convenience store to pick up some stuff, and they bump into these thugs. The music here was amazing. I definitely enjoyed this part. But they bump into some thugs, and as they're leaving, they accidentally run over one of the motorcycles. They knock it over.
It's kind of funny, like in the store, like they're being like bullied by these 3 thugs, and they're just and the cashier does nothing. You don't even see the cashier, but you know like they're exchanging money, and the cashier does absolutely nothing right in front of them. That was just what. But yeah,
you said maybe it was her kids.
Yeah, maybe the thugs were her kids. That's what I just thought. Yeah.
Oh man, so as they're leaving, they bump over the motorcycles. One of the thugs sees this, and he grabs a chain, wraps it around his fist, breaks the windshield. They just stop the car for him.
Yeah.
He breaks the windshield, he breaks the window in the driver's side, and then they drive off. They're pissed. Shelly decides to go back and run over his motorcycle again, and then they head back to the camp. We see the thugs actually follow them back to camp. They steal the gas out of the van. They're trying to burn down the barn. So they're pretty hardcore about revenge here.
Yeah.
They go in the barn. Jason kills 2 of the thugs with a pitchfork, and then he just clubs the last one repeatedly. At night, we see Chris telling Rick about her encounter with Jason 2 years ago. She says that she blacked out and woke up in her bed, and her parents never mentioned it. Do you remember that? Like, what is she even talking about here? It shows a flashback of her trying to escape Jason without the mask. He's just got the deformed face.
With no hair, even though he had like long-ass hippie hair in the second one.
He did, man. He had really long hair. I didn't even catch that. But she escapes from Jason, then she says, I just blacked out and woke up in my bed. Well, what the hell? Did Jason put her there? I don't know.
Impregnation.
Yes, he impregnated her is what I was thinking.
Yes. Because it sure as hell doesn't explain it.
But then we see Shelly, the prankster. He pranks Valerie, one of the other girls, with a scuba outfit and hockey mask. He jumps out of the lake trying to scare her. Then he hears a crackle way over in the barn.
Like way
over. Here's a crackle, then he just slowly walks to the barn.
It's like, I heard that.
So he goes in. We don't really see what happens to him, but then we see Valerie. Because of the incident with the thugs, Shelly dropped his wallet, so she's got his wallet. She drops it in the lake, and while she's trying to retrieve it, we see a guy, a thick dude, much thicker Jason than the last movie, come out, and he's got the hockey mask on now, and Valerie doesn't know who it is, and she's like, who are you? And he just shoots her in the eye with, I guess, a spear gun. And yeah, he just kills her instantly. So now we have Jason with the hockey mask. Yes. In the house, there's this other guy. There's a girl taking a shower and another guy who's walking around on his hands for some reason.
Because he's cool like that.
So Jason comes up while this guy's walking on his hands and just cuts him right down the middle, I assume is what happened.
Yeah, he had it coming that, thinks he's so cool.
Who do you think you are? Walking around on your hands? So yeah, he just kills this guy. The girl in the shower, she gets out of the shower, she goes and sits on the hammock, and then we see blood drip down on a magazine she's reading, and she looks up and we see the guy who he just killed. And this was actually some pretty good gore here. This guy's like all twisted up from Jason just cutting him.
Yeah, cut him in half.
Yeah.
It really looked, it was gory and good.
Yeah, this was a cool scene. Jason is under the hammock. He grabs her and then stabs her through like he did Kevin Bacon in the first movie, like he did the girl in the second movie. This is like a reoccurring thing at this point.
Yeah, I mean...
So yeah, he kills her. One thing I was disappointed is the cover of the movie shows Jason stabbing someone through a shower curtain. I really expected that when she was in the shower, but it never happens. That scene is never in the movie. So Shelley shows up with the hippie people. He shows up and his throat is cut, but they think he's just joking around again, trying to prank him, so he dies. Then we see Jason throw the hippie into the fuse box, electrocutes him, he dies. Then he stabs the hippie's girlfriend through the stomach with a fire poker and kills her. And Chris and Rick finally show up back at the camp. Jason squeezes Rick's head until his eyeball pops out. 3D effect, of course. And that was pretty cool. He's much, much stronger now.
Yes.
This Jason.
Only after 1 day.
Yeah, apparently with the time frame, it's been exactly 1 day, and he is already like huge. He's got muscles. Stuff doesn't slow him down anymore. He
crushing people's heads.
Yeah, he's just crushing heads. So
like, this is Friday the 14th.
Technically, yes. So he crushes Rick's head. Then Chris starts to look for Rick. She hears a storm coming. It's really windy outside. She goes inside. She's trying to close the doors and curtains. She starts to find bodies of people Jason killed, and she starts screaming for Rick to help her. And then all of a sudden, Jason just throws Rick's body through the window. Yeah. He goes to climb in.
Is there to help?
We were joking around about that. Like, Rick, I'll save you getting thrown through the window.
Yeah, I'll come in.
But Chris eventually hides in the closet. Jason breaks through with an axe. She stabs him in the hand. She stabs him in the knee. Like we said before, this doesn't really affect him anymore. He's so much stronger than he was in the second movie. She goes to get in the van. She starts it, but because the thugs stole the gas, she doesn't get very far. Jason tries to break through the window. She rolls his arms up in the window, and he just smashes it with his mask, which was another cool scene.
That was cool.
Chris takes off to the barn. She hits Jason in the head with a shovel, and then she wraps a rope with the pulley around his neck and pushes him off the top of the barn. She thinks she stopped him. So she goes downstairs and opens the door to the barn, and we see Jason just hanging there. It was a really creepy scene, actually.
Really good scene.
Yeah, I like this. It looked really cool. Jason just grabs the rope, lifts it up.
Even the moment like you see him just dead, and then he starts moving.
Yeah.
Like the whole scene is pretty good. Like you open the door, see him dead, then he starts moving.
It was really cool, and he kind of lifts his mask up a little, and she sees his face, and she realizes it's the same deformed guy from 2 years ago. He puts the mask back on. He's coming after her with a machete, but the thug he clubbed in the face earlier comes back to life. He cuts his hand off, and he just starts killing this guy. When he turns around, Chris hits him in the face with an axe, and that puts Jason out for a little bit. Then she gets in a canoe and just goes out in the middle of the lake like they've been doing. Well, like they did in the first one. And she kind of has a nightmare about Jason coming back to life, and Mama Voorhees jumps out of the water and pulls her under. But at least that's what we think happens. The cops show up. They're talking about how she was screaming about a lady in the water, and she says, and the cops are like, "Oh, there was no lady out there. There was no lady." Same thing that happened in the first movie with Alice, talking about the little boy who pulled her under that they never found. So most likely another hallucination, I assume.
Yes. Trauma can do that.
Yeah, she's just really traumatized. So the cops take her away to get her some help because everyone's dead, and she's been through a horrific ordeal. And the last thing we see is Jason just lying in the barn with the axe in his head, and that's it, really.
Yeah.
So looking this up on Wikipedia, I found out that this was actually supposed to be the final installment of the Friday the 13th series, and then, of course...
Supposed to be a trilogy.
Yeah. Nothing really happened to make you think that there would be another movie here. I know they did a ton more, but we're going to review Part 4, which is also supposed to be the last in the series, Part 4, the final chapter, next week. So this one was supposed to be the end. However, I have to say, in closing about this movie that I really liked this one. I thought it was entertaining.
The best so far, I think. So far, the best.
Yeah, this
Because you got the full Jason effect. He's big, he's brawny, he doesn't take any crap anymore. No more kicking the balls and he's down for like a couple minutes. Nah. Stab him somewhere, he's back up. Choke him, he's like trying to untangle that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and you get the mask. So it all culminates to like Jason. What we all know and love.
This is where we really get Jason that everybody knows. The icon. You remember when she's chasing him with the van and he jumps out of the way?
Dude, that was a good scene, yeah. And he's like walk back, he's like trying to run back to get her, but he's limping. But the van completely missed him. That's funny. Yeah. It's like, it's got a splinter when I jumped out of the way.
So overall, I gotta say, I did like this. Like you said, we finally get the iconic Jason, and even though the 3D was,
lame.
Yeah, it was kind of lame and almost headache-inducing.
Let's just call a spade here.
Yeah.
It was cool gimmick. I'll give them that. But you also get the 2D version in here, just in case you don't want to watch the 3D.
Yeah, it was definitely an option, but we figured we got the glasses, it's 3D, let's watch the 3D version of Jason 3, or Friday the 13th 3, and it just, I can't really be too harsh, it was 1982 after all.
Yeah,
so.
And we still get the whole Jason effect, like I said, it was like, it was good.
Yeah, I liked it. So, I guess that's it, guys. We will be back next week to do part 4, the final chapter.
The last movie.
Is it the last movie? So if you have seen these movies or have any comments, leave them down below. And that's it, guys. So thanks for watching.